All right, so we will jump right in. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time out to join us today for our webinar on Tapestry's data analytics and business intelligence journey with Groupsoft. My name is Angela Sorbino. I'll be your host for today's webinar. I would like to welcome our speakers and panelists today, starting with Jane Kushner, our Senior Project Manager. She's also focused very steadily on business intelligence and analytics at Groupsoft. Also joining us from the Groupsoft team is Mr. Debraj Roy, again focused on analytics and BI solution sales. For those of you who may not be aware, Groupsoft is a global consulting firm focused on the retail, fashion, CPG, and healthcare industries. Lastly, a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Chris DeFuria, Senior Director of Advanced Analytics at Tapestry. Before we get started this afternoon, I have just one housekeeping item to cover. If you have any questions during today's presentation, go ahead and enter those into the Q&A box below. We have allocated time to answer those questions at the end of the webinar today, so please keep your queries ready. We will try to address those questions live during the webinar, but if we are not able to get to your question, we will be sharing the responses along with the recording today. Thank you again for joining us. Handing it over to Debraj.
Hey, thanks, Angela. Hey, good afternoon, Chris, Jane, and my fellow BI and data analytics colleagues on this webinar. A quick introduction of Groupsoft. We are a retail, fashion, CPG, healthcare domain focused SAP consulting partner. And we've been doing consulting with SAP for last over 20 years. Along the way, we have, with the advent of omnichannel and all, we've partnered with Snowflake, MicroStrategy, AWS, Tableau, and many others. Today, we have the trust of over 100 customers like Tapestry, and many of whom are on multi-year engagements. Groupsoft is headquartered in New Jersey. Our other offices are in Toronto, Bangalore, India. Today's webinar is more of a knowledge and experience share that brings insight into the tools, processes, team, and the best practices driving a real business value, delivering innovations to business. I think we will keep it conversational at this juncture. Let me invite Chris. Chris, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Debraj.
Thank you, Chris. And I mean, let him do the honors. Okay, he's from Tapestry. Let him start with giving us a background of Tapestry.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, good morning, good evening, everybody. Happy to be here. Yeah, thank you, Debraj, Angela, Jane, for the opportunity to speak. So for those of you not familiar with Tapestry, we're a New York-based house of fashion brands. We have 3 brands in our portfolio: Coach, Kate Spade, and Stuart Weitzman. And we design, manufacture, and distribute our products globally in our own retail stores, in our online e-commerce sites, and as with wholesale partners as well. We operate in North America, Europe, and Asia. So we do have a complex business across a number of dimensions. Looking forward to digging into how we're using data and analytics to help us manage that business.
Great. So thanks, Chris. So I mean, this will keep it interactive. So one good, it could be a good start if I ask you, could you throw some light on the growing importance of business intelligence and data analytics in today's retail industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at the retail industry today, it's incredibly complex, and the complexity that retailers have to manage is really driving Tapestry, and I think most in the industry, to more heavily rely on data and analytics to run our businesses. So looking at a few of the complexities, one is It all starts with knowing your customers and meeting their expectations. Customers today are more demanding, they're more knowledgeable than ever. They have an incredible amount of information in their pocket with them at all time. So knowing and understanding your customers' wants and needs and meeting their expectations is critically important for any retailer that's going to succeed. Another complexity is the growth of digital distribution and e-commerce, as well as new online and social marketing channels, new ways that we're engaging with our customers. Another area is, an increasingly complex supply chain. So we've all lived through, the pandemic the last couple of years and all the disruptions that introduced. So it's been an incredibly difficult time for retailers to manage that, from supply chain, distribution, managing inventory, incredibly difficult. And so for us at Tapestry, and I do think much in the industry, data and analytics are really key to how we're managing all of these different complexities that the retail industry is faced with.
Thank you so much, Chris, for these details and insights into the importance of BI and data analytics for the industry, retail industry overall. It's clear, right? The customer, for any customer-oriented business, it's critical to understand customer needs and understand how they are impacted by economic and social trends. Tapestry is a retail organization, but it does have unique setup, unique needs, unique culture. So in light of that, if you could please share with us, with our audience, the overall goal and vision for BI and data analytics, specifically for Tapestry.
Yeah, so I mean, we view leading in data and digital as one of the pillars that's going to drive our growth as a business, right? So from our CEO on down, this is a core part of our business strategy. It's not just a technology strategy. This is really core to how we think we're going to be able to grow our business. So from a vision perspective, we think that making better data-driven decisions, knowing our customer, optimizing our supply chains, that's what's going to drive us and allow us to succeed in our segment. At a more tactical level, so we have goals within our analytics team for how we're going to achieve that. What does it actually mean when we say we want to be data-driven? Okay, what does that actually mean? What are the goals that we set for ourselves and that we think we need to achieve to kind of meet those strategic goals? And I think we can break it down probably into a few things. One is we want to automate the routine, right? So you think about our teams, they make thousands of decisions every day. How much of this product should I send to this store? Should we assort product A or product B in the assortment next season? Multiply this thousands of times over across all of our teams, around the world. And so we first want to use advanced analytics, whether it's ML/AI, RPA, or other tools, to automate the routine and let our teams focus on the more value add work. The second goal we have as a team is to, step back and look. We have a huge breadth of data within our organization. Retail companies generate a huge amount of data. And so the challenge often isn't getting data, but it is sifting through and getting the signal from the noise. How do we get that signal from the data and actually take action against it when we're, in some cases, drowning in data? So another goal we have and a focus of ours is taking insight to action. So how can we build the analytics tools that identify the exceptions or the opportunities to where our teams need to take action? So again, first one, automate the routine, get that off the team's plates. Second, guide the teams to where their action is needed, so that insight to action. And then the third thing we do is, we're a fashion company. So yes, retail, there's definitely a science and there's definitely a lot of math behind a retail company, but there's also still a whole lot of judgment and people it is a fashion, a fashion company. So our teams are making decisions. And what we want to do is empower them to make better decisions, right? So giving them some insights so that the data is informing them. It can either reinforce what they think is right, or maybe it'll shift their focus. So, by automating and by guiding teams to action, we're freeing them up to focus on those most important decisions. And then we're also providing them with some additional data to help guide those most important decisions. So that's tactically what we're trying to do as an analytics team that we think is really going to elevate the organization, to help us succeed.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing this vision and this 3 or 4 or more strategic goals. Technology used to accomplish these goals is critical. So my next question for you is if you could share some light, how does BI and data analytics fit into the overall technology strategy at Tapestry?
Yeah, there's, it's definitely a core part of our technology strategy. And I think there's 2 ways that we're looking at it. One is when we look at our broader technology landscape, these assets we have are now sources of data. They are generating data, whether they're customer facing POS or digital properties, or maybe it's our warehouse management systems that are giving us insight into our distribution network. These are all sources of data. And so as we're making technology investments across the landscape, one of the key aspects that we're looking at now is it providing new data we don't have? Is it solving a data deficiency that we have? Maybe we have multiple sources and they're poor quality data. So by standardizing on one platform, it's going to generate, a better source of data for us. So I would say the need for more data and the need for high quality data is informing the investments we're making across the technology landscape. So it's not the only consideration, obviously, but it is, what I've seen in the last few years is becoming a more important factor as we decide where do we want to invest our technology dollars. A big part of it is, hey, where do we need better data, and how can we source the technology that's going to get that for us. The second way we're looking at it is kind of the reverse. So one is, hey, we're pulling in data from the technology landscape into our data tools. The second is, how can we infuse data and analytics into our either existing or our new systems, right? So this is kind of pushing the insights back out. One of the things that we're very focused on is distributing data and the insights to as much of the organization as we can. And that may be dashboards, that may be reports, or that may be in the source systems that they're using to do their day-to-day jobs. And so when we're starting new projects now, one of the things we ask ourselves is, hey, what data or analytics do we need to optimize this new technology or this new process? So it's very much, a part of the discussions from the very beginning. How can data and analytics be leveraged in this area? And then, we're in the beginning setting up work streams and looking at new technology projects to include, better ways to leverage data.
All right. Very interesting points. Thank you for sharing that. So as you mentioned, actually, I want to ask maybe a little bit more specific question. As you mentioned, a few tools, right, and technologies. My next question is about Snowflake specifically. If you could share, like, what results have you seen migrating to Snowflake? What was the reason it was selected as the platform of choice to store the data to enable the Tapestry kind of like future state, desired state in data analytics?
Yeah. So I mean, we have a whole suite of technologies we use, but Snowflake, has become our primary data lake. And over the years, it's continued to grow and is now the central repository, for most of the organization's data. So I would say, we've had a good amount of success with the tool due to, just the scalability. It really, as the organization's data has grown, the Snowflake platform is able to scale. It really is giving us that one source for data. We publish data through a whole number of different tools. So we have different tools for reporting and dashboarding and other ways to publish data. But Snowflake, we've had a good amount of success with that as the data layer, that data engineering layer, that being the one source, of truth for us. And so, in terms of scalability, it's there. In terms of, just skill set, it's pretty natural for most data engineers to work with Snowflake. It's not a difficult technology to use or to learn. So, that's always, a constraint as you're looking to build big tools. Is the team is obviously critical. So it's been easy for the teams to learn. And so overall, I think that aspect of it, being able to scale up quickly, the scalability, and then just in terms of stability and everything else, we've seen it be rock solid.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Clearly, to stay competitive, to be at the top of your game, it presents challenge, requires investment in technology and human resources. Could you please share with us, with our audience today, your journey at Tapestry, forming the BI and analytics department, like from very beginning, growing into this mature, modern environment it is now, with a fairly large team. What were some challenges, key learnings along the way?
Yeah, I mean, we've come a long way. And I would say, there's a few things. One is, don't try to boil the ocean, right? The consistent incremental progress is kind of how we've been able to grow over time. There's too much to do. There's too many problems to solve, that you're not going to do it all at once. So for us, it was very much about, taking one opportunity at a time, finding the right opportunity, taking advantage of that, and then incrementally improving, whether that's sourcing more data and bringing more data into our data lake, whether that's building analytics for, one data domain or one area of the business, and then moving on to the next. There is no one single project that's gonna, and then you're done. It is much more, consistent day-to-day incremental progress. So related to that, the question that we always ask ourselves is, what is that right next opportunity? Because we're presented with there's a lot of asks in the org, and there's a lot of ideas within the team. So finding the right opportunities is also really important. So what we've done is, we've developed a culture of test and learn, to where we'll do proof of concept. We'll build an AI model for one specific use case and see how the results are. So we're very much looking for new opportunities and being quick and agile to test and learn and see what works. And in cases where we don't necessarily get the results we want, okay, that's fine. We have something that we learned, and we move on to the next opportunity. But the key is, when you find something that does work, you need to be able to execute. You need to be able to take advantage of that. And so I see that sometimes is a little bit harder for teams to make that switch. You can get stuck in that test and learn, and you constantly have ideas. But the key is, when you find that right opportunity, you need to be able to execute. So that means being able to implement the analytics at scale with speed, and actually get it adopted in the business to change the way you're working. So those are, like, in terms of how we identify the right work and just making progress. That's kind of the way we work day to day. And in terms of learns, I mean, I don't think this is unique to Tapestry, certainly, and not unique to this area, but you have to build a strong team. You have internal experts, and you need to find the right partners. This stuff is hard, it's complex. There are definitely new skill sets with data science and data engineering and related skills that require you to have a good team to deliver. So focus on the team, building out those skill sets internally, find the right partners, and then for us, using that test and learn culture to kind of find the right opportunities to take advantage of, is the approach we've taken to really build out the analytics team.
Yeah, all great points. So I asked you quite a few questions. Now let me let Debraj take an opportunity and ask questions too.
No, I'll just thanks, Chris, for that elaborative, answer. But, let me ask Jane. Chris mentioned about partners, team, importance of working together, the work culture, processes. And now let me ask. You've been the project in managing this analytics. Now, what do you think that as a partner, you or Chris, as a partner, Groupsoft as a partner in this whole analytics journey, how you think that we as a team worked out there, and Chris saved, same question, but any of you can start basically. Jane, if you could, throw in a couple
it
of
makes sense
points.
for Chris maybe to take this question first, and then I'll chip in towards the end of his answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious what you think, Jane, but I could definitely start. So Groupsoft has been a key partner for us. For me, I trust you guys. I trust that we both are working towards the same goals, and you guys are working on our side towards the same outcomes. So I think it starts with that. And then going back to what I was saying before, where we have a whole range of opportunities that we want to pursue. And we definitely have a really skilled internal team that are best in the industry. I don't hesitate to say that. But what we're able to do with Groupsoft is really to do more and to scale analytics beyond what we can do just on our own because of the resource constraints we have. So for me, it's about having that trusted partner that can bring skilled engineers and other analytics resources. We can trust that we're going to have skilled folks that are working towards the same goals as us. And what it's allowed us to do is to implement projects at a speed and a scale that we couldn't do on our own. And I think we've got a few cases where we have delivered significantly complex projects with the partnership. So from my point of view, I think that's, I think just why you guys have become a valued partner for us.
Fantastic. Good to hear that, Chris.
What do you think, Jane? How we done on our side, Jane?
First of all, Chris, definitely would like to say we are, happy to hear these nice words about our team coming from you. We definitely proud to be your trusted business partner. So a little bit of history about our engagement. So it started about, I'll say, a year and a half ago when you guys trusted us to come and work under your leadership on quite a few, strategic business initiatives. You mentioned a few before, like data replatforming, building more data pipelines, straightening the reporting, and in MicroStrategy, Tableau. So our team kind of came. We quickly evaluated, reviewed the business technical requirements, recommended, designed and developed solutions to help Tapestry team with their journey, to support their journey in this, transformation to build their kind of modern, future-oriented state in BI and analytics. This environment and culture is really very dynamic. There is, it's very interesting, complex, involved business. There is not a day goes by without a new challenge, and Chris mentioned that already. So our team, we feel, very, this work is very rewarding for the whole team, for me personally. So we are really happy to be your trusted partner and looking forward for more new challenges in the future.
fantastic. So, I mean, the emphasis on team strikes out. I mean, there is a perfect bohemian, between both your team, our team, and delivering the goods together. So that's great. That's great. Uh, yeah. I mean, another question which comes, in this is for Chris. Uh, how, I mean, that you have been the past couple of years been working together on the BI analytics perspective, you know, uh, the adoption, user adoption, because that's important, that once you create this particular stuff, people start using it, and more people beyond the core team start using it, and then it spreads out, you know so would you like to throw us you know what's it been like in Tapestry?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you think about user adoption, you usually think about a particular project or system or implementation and making sure that gets adopted. And that's certainly true with the analytics projects. But I think what we've seen over the last couple of years is a bigger cultural shift within the
Yeah.
company, to where we every decision we're making now, we say, what does the data tell us? So in years past, it would be more of a push, from the technology team or the project team, to say, hey, look at this new dashboard we have, look at these new analytics, or look at this, what this forecast could tell us. And there's a push to drive adoption. But similarly to what we were talking about before, where we make incremental progress on the technology side, we find opportunities, and over time we build out the capabilities. What we've seen is, over time, the organization's culture has grown as well, to where it's less of a push for adoption, and it's much more of a pull now from the teams. We've kind of hit that critical mass, to where folks see the value, they see how it makes their jobs better, they see how they're making better decisions, and there's much more of a pull to say, hey, we want more data, we want more analytics, we need, we see other opportunities. And so, basically adoption's gotten easier. It's less of a push, it's more of a pull. And we have, folks within the organization who have been leaders, in business roles, who are kind of, spreading that point of view, and bringing others on board. It starts from, our leadership, our CEO on down. We've said, like in the beginning, this is going to be core to our strategy. This is how we think we win in our industry. And that message is definitely needed. And it's a prerequisite. You need that message from your leadership, but there's, the work happens, at a lower level. So winning over, the teams and having them recognize the value is important. And like I said, it is, again, incrementally make an improvement. You get a win here, you get a win there, and you start building momentum, and you start building that critical mass, to where the results are obvious, the benefits are obvious, and there's an ask from the org, there's a pull for the teams, for more. So in the beginning, it is more work, and it is more of a push and an education. But as the org matures and becomes more data driven,
Right.
There's less talk about adoption, and it's more, there's a appetite for that, and the teams take it and they use it and they know what to do with it. So that's where we're getting. It's not universal. There's still a whole lot more for us to do, and we're further ahead in certain areas than others. But that momentum's there, and we're kind of seeing that cultural change, to where, this is just the way we work now.
This is fantastic. This is really fantastic. Yeah. Jane?
I can ask one more question. Time permits, right? So Chris, it's clear that your team sustained quite a lot of growth, and plays an important kind of role within the organization. So if you could, share, like, what has been overall impact of your team on the Tapestry success story? If you could maybe share some highlights or interesting, important project for which your group made significant contribution. What do you hear from your business users?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a number of examples, but why don't we take the one that we've been working on, Jane? Yeah, that Groupsoft partnered with us, over the last year and a half or so to build out analytics around our end-to-end customer fulfillment. So this is really focused on our digital channels here in North America. From the point a customer submits an order on our website to the point they receive that order on their doorstep, that end-to-end fulfillment process, is quite complex. And we had, before this project, limited insight into that journey. Let me start by just talking about why this is so important, and I'm sure this wouldn't be hard to understand, but how the customer perceives our brand is directly impacted by how satisfied they are through that order journey. Did I get my order on time? Yes or no? There's a direct correlation to our customer satisfaction scores to if we deliver their product on time. And so what we saw was, our satisfaction scores were not as high as we would have liked. We did disappoint more customers than we would like. Obviously you want to disappoint 0. So 1 is too many. And one of the problems was throughout that complicated fulfillment process, we didn't have as much visibility as we wanted to, into every single customer's order. So what we did, was build out a set of analytics that gives us that insight, and then also takes the next step and actually highlights what action is needed. Where should we raise a flag? Which orders, which products, which customers are at risk of being disappointed? So it involved a huge amount of data engineering. We're pulling in data from our digital properties, whether it's our e-commerce sites, our orders management systems, our warehouse systems, ERP, third-party tracking, whether it's all the logistics companies that deliver product. So we first had a huge data engineering project to integrate and set up the data pipelines for all this product. And then we had, a sizable analytics effort to do 2 things. One is to build a more executive level set of KPIs that lets us measure overall performance. What percentage of customer orders are we delivering as expected? Where are we not succeeding? And then taking that a step lower, we built a set of analytics that highlights in real time, here are some orders that look like they're at risk of disappointing customer. Maybe it's a systems issue with the routing of the orders. Maybe it's an operational order issue in the DC. Maybe it's a logistics issue with UPS or FedEx or somebody else. So we have real-time analytics highlighting these things that are guiding our teams to take action so that we can address it before the customer is disappointed. So overall, I mean, this is a great example, I think, of how complex this could be, but also how this is having a direct result on customer satisfaction and their perception of the brand. Because through these tools, we have been able to increase the percent of our orders that are perfect orders, which we call them, and we see a direct correlation to customer satisfaction. So internally, this has been a huge win, and it's also a springboard. We're saying, hey, this has been such a success. How else can we do this? What other areas of the business could we do this? But this one has been a clear win for us.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much, everyone. I know we definitely have some time still for question and answers. So if you haven't already shared your questions in the Q&A box below, please go ahead and do so now. I did see a couple actually come in already that I would like to ask. The first one, I guess really could go to any of you here, Debraj, Jane, or Chris. Do you have any advice to fellow BI or analytics leaders from your experience and learnings on this project? Maybe they're looking at doing something similar. Do you have any advice that you'd like to share?
I think it would be best when we have a panelist like Chris. You take over this, share your experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about a good amount on the, already, during the discussion. So, for us, if you're saying overall advice for, how to mature your analytics capabilities, like I said, it's incremental progress. It's building a strong team, finding the right partners, and then finding those right opportunities, through a test and learn, approach. Specifically, talking more tactically on the project we were just talking about, the customer fulfillment analytics. For me, the lesson learned was, this was hard. The exceptions are what made this very difficult. When the order goes well, and then when we build the analytics, it works 95% of the time. Those 5% exceptions were hard from a data engineering perspective. But what we found is that those are also the ones that where we were disappointing customers. So what we found was that, the data kind of revealed exceptions, and that drove a lot of our work, but it also highlighted operational deficiencies or other systems deficiencies. And so when you're planning the work or as you're going through the work, what I've learned is, expect the exceptions to take a lot of time. It's going to be valuable because they're going to highlight where there's deficiencies. But the happy path isn't what you're trying to find. It is those exceptions, it's those one-offs. And that's what really drove a lot of the work and complexity, for the team.
Right. Jane, from a project management perspective, I was going to say if there's anything you'd like to add also.
Not much from the project management perspective, but I have to add to Chris's point that having the data, complete and correct is very important to be able to draw to find the actionable insights from the data, right? So data synchronization was an issue. So we really spend a lot of time synchronizing the data, making sure we close all the gaps on all this descriptive analytics. So that was a big effort also, because so many different sources of data coming in, and we needed to make sure that it blends together well. So that was one kind of key learning, is to make sure that we pay close attention to our data source systems.
Great. There's one more question too that's come in. More a general question. What new and exciting things are happening in the BI space? And is Tapestry leveraging AI or machine learning at this point?
Yeah, we are,
Yeah.
and expect us to do even more. So, we're leveraging machine learning, in a few areas. So when you look at retail industry, what are some of the best applications of AI ML? One is forecasting. So it's demand forecasting from pre-season. What products should we assort and what products should we buy for next season? From an in-season, it's where do we expect the customer demand to come from? Which store? Which zip code, even for e-commerce orders? So that forecasting is a huge opportunity, which we're leveraging now. To kind of really to optimize inventory from a few different lenses. It's buying the right inventory. It's placing and routing the inventory to the right distribution center to meet that demand. So huge opportunity we're taking advantage of there. Customer segmentation is one, just understanding our customers and their shopping patterns is another huge area that we're working on. And then pricing, promo optimization, another huge area of opportunity that we're using now and see even more coming.
Great. Thanks, Chris. So I think that wraps up the Q&A portion for today. So I just want to say thank you again, Chris, Jane, and Debraj, for sharing your insights with us today. And again, thank you to everyone in attendance. We appreciate you taking the time out this afternoon to join us. If you do have any additional questions that you would like to ask, or if you're interested in learning more about working with Groupsoft, feel free to reach out to Debraj for more information. His details are mentioned up now on the screen. You can go ahead and screenshot that for your reference. You can also visit us on our website, groupsoftus.com, or visit us in person. We will be attending NRF in New York City this coming Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We will be at booth number 4324. Today's webinar has been recorded and will be shared via email before the end of the day today. And again, thank you all for joining, and we will see you the next time around. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.